if we are waiting for somebody outside to give us the validation, we'll always be waiting, because there are 7 billion people on this planet, and every single person has a different opinion. When we were little, we always try to do good things, or we try to be a good child, good girl, a good boy. We try to please other people and try to get validation that, yes, you are doing good, you're a good person, you're good, right? And that point that, yes, am I good enough? Am I good? What can I do so that my adults would like me? What can I do to be a good child? What can I do to get some compliments or validation so that I feel I'm good enough? We did that. And then all of a sudden, we entered adulthood. And in the adulthood, there was nobody to validate us anymore. The adulthood, there was nobody to validate us. There was nobody to say, yes, you're doing a good job. There was nobody to say, yes, it's hard, but I see you. It's really difficult. There was nobody to qualify you to say, you are capable to do that. You know what? You're worthy of this. There was none of that. And all of a sudden, we start to feel like, what am I going to do now? How do I get the validation? We tend to find things outside of us to show that we are good enough, to show we are capable enough, to show we can believe in ourselves, to show we are enough. And then we rely on everybody else outside of us. For example, if somebody on social media says something negative, we all of a sudden start to question what we are doing. Or if somebody in any place, in our friends, in our family says something, it makes us question, because we are waiting as that child sometimes to get that approval that, yes, you're doing the right thing, you're good enough, you can, it's possible. And I think that's where we need to untangle this, because if we are waiting for somebody outside to give us the validation, we'll always be waiting, because there are 7 billion people on this planet, and every single person has a different opinion. So even when we take chocolate, right? Not everybody, most of the people like chocolate, but not everybody. So even with chocolate, it hasn't got 100%. But what we are trying is that until, or when we feel like everybody likes us, or when we feel like there is nobody who is going against us, or if everybody likes us and there are few people, or there is one person who says something negative, that person stands out to us. Why? Because subconsciously we are looking for validation, and now those adults who used to validate us are replaced by the whole world. So everybody has to like us. And even if one person or few people or one instance happens in our day when people say something negative, we are like, oh, I think I'm not good enough. I think I shouldn't do this. So my question is, who is that person who has the responsibility to validate us? Who is the person who gets to decide that, yes, we are good enough? Who is that person who decides that we are valuable? And would you be okay to take responsibility for someone else? So what if somebody else relies on us or on me or you for their value, for their approval, for their worthiness? Would you be okay or enough to make them feel they're worthy as a human? That's a scary thing, isn't it? We would think that, no, they are worthy. So we would think that we don't want to give other people approval. They are good enough. We don't want to have the responsibility. So then if we don't want to have the responsibility, why are we expecting other people to give us the approval, to give us the validation, to say, yes, you're good enough, to say you're capable? And the person who we are really waiting for, the approval is us. We have to decide that, yes, I'm worthy, I'm going for it. I'm not relying on the outside to say, yes, you can do this, or to believe. I'm believing in myself, I'm going for it, I've made a decision. I made an irreversible, committed decision. I decide, I take the responsibility. And when you say that, right, let's take an example when somebody comes to you and says, you're so confident, right? Or somebody says something nice to you, or somebody says, I love you, right? What happens is we feel loved, right? When somebody says, I love you, we feel loved. Now that person didn't give us anything physical. They didn't come and give us a box of love. All they did was they said something which activated the love within us, which activated our love for us. So what we're really craving for is our love for us. But unfortunately, we rely on other people to activate it for us. So until somebody says, I love you, we don't feel loved enough. So again, the question comes back to, who is that person who will give us the validation, the love, the approval, the belief that we need to move forward and create the life that we want? And that has got to be us. So the question is, the oath, what I would love for you to take today, while you're watching this, while you're with me right here, right now, that I am not going to rely on anybody to define my worth. I'm not going to wait for anybody's approval to tell me I'm good enough. I'm not going to wait for anything outside of me or any compliment or anything. Even if it's a client or a person or a customer, that one person cannot determine your worth. You define your worth, and once you define your worth and see who you are, the whole world sees it. But it has to start from within. It has to be from you, because the outer world is a reflection of how you see yourself, what kind of beliefs you hold about yourself, and what is your worth. So taking this oath, right? Taking this oath right now, irrespective of, maybe you offer a product to somebody and they don't like it. Maybe it's not for them. Maybe they say, I don't need it. Does it define your worth? So if somebody looks at a product which is so beautiful, let's take this example, that if somebody looks at a beautiful bracelet, right, and it's the out of the world bracelet, it's made of diamonds, but that person doesn't like wearing bracelets, would you question the bracelet, or would you say that person is not the right person to value the bracelet? So you might come across people who don't value what you've got to offer. You might come across people who don't value who you are. You might come across people who are interested in different kind of people. But your value has to come from you. Who gets to decide? You get to decide. And when you get to decide, you attract the people who value you, because value find value. So you attract the people who truly value you. But this requires you to have that shift that I value myself no matter what. I don't rely on anybody outside to tell me I'm good enough, I can go for it. Because nobody's there, nobody's coming to do that. As children, we had adults who said, yes, you did good job, well done. But now nobody's coming. And there is no single person who can take the responsibility for our worth, because it's beyond measure. It's infinite. Similarly, we don't take responsibility for anybody's worth. How many times we value so many people and we don't even tell them, right? Or we don't sometimes get to share. So how many times people value us but they don't get to share? So we cannot rely for our value, for our worth from the outside. It has to come from within. We have to have this protected place, like a space where no matter what happens, we are okay, we are valuable, we see our value and we go for it. Okay? To right here, right now, I would love for you to take this oath with me, that I'm not going to rely on the outside for my value anymore. I'm not going to wait for anybody to tell me that I'm valuable. I'm not going to rely on any outside source to tell me that I'm worthy and I can go for it. I define my value. I get to decide I'm worthy. I go for it. If I have a desire, it's meant for me. It's in my energetic field and I go for it. I'm worthy, I'm the one. If it's easy, I'm the one. If it's hard, I'm the one. If somebody says I'm not good enough, I'm still the one. If somebody doesn't appreciate or value what I've got to offer, I'm still the one. Because when I value myself, I'll attract people who'll value me. Magnet is always on, right? You have to decide this. That shift has to come from within. Nobody gets to decide it. Nobody can take the responsibility for this. And nobody's coming to do that. You find your value, you see your value, that you are the most valuable person in your life, and you go for it. And when you go with that faith, you become a match for whatever you desire. So taking this oath right now, right here. And if you're taking this oath, I would love for you to write yes in the comments so I can see that you did, right? That I value myself right here, right now, despite whatever happens in the outside. I'm the most valuable person. I see my value all the time. And I go for it. I love that, Kavita. I love that. Take care, everybody. You're valuable. You're worthy just the way you are. You're born worthy. Nothing has changed. Nothing can ever change. Even you can't take it from you. Nobody in this world can take it, and not even you can't take that from you.